Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen news, talking about Squadron 42 progress, the Star Citizen Crytek lawsuit, CitizenCon 2020, Alpha 3.8.2, the next minor patch, long-term persistence, the Carrack, Alpha 4.1, roadmap updates with that, new CIG content, prisons in 3.9 and 3.9 features. This is a smorgasbord of updates. I am a smorgasbord. Oh my god, I need an emote for this. It's a big news dump though, so let's take it away. CitizenCon 2020, CIG have said, last week we revealed the biggest CitizenCon to date, and it's coming to Los Angeles, California on October 10th, 2020. CIG are very much pushing the hype for the event already, but that leads to expectations being that it's going to have the best presentation and releases and announcements to date. This also means that the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo will be separate again this year, the sort of like big sales event. That's going to be towards the end of November. And to be honest, they're both big sales events, and I suspect that CIG want to compare the amount of money they can make now when they have the events combined compared to what happens if they have those events separated. I'm expecting Squadron 42 to have heavy presence at CitizenCon this year. Los Angeles, LA seems like a perfect stage for this because they could potentially get actors there like Mark Hamill and people like that. But we could also see server meshing early tests and much more in-depth missions shown off, new biomes, new systems, lots and lots of stuff that they could show at CitizenCon this year. Squadron 42 progress and lawsuit stuff. So I saw some posts on Reddit talking about Squadron 42 and the roadmap not being updated enough, and are they vastly behind on various stages of their chapter completion and the roadmap for that. I can give you my hot take on this. Squadron 42's chapters require certain features to be completed, and at the moment on the roadmap there is a few features that they're sort of like behind on, but on the actual chapter section they haven't completed as much as they were supposed to by now. They haven't marked those sections for completion. Before they can be marked as complete or move on to the next stage of production for some of those chapters, they need features that are either delayed or being worked on at the moment to be completed. But this might not actually be that much of a problem, so I suspect a lot of things they're waiting for are them working on NPC interrupts, so when characters move around and when they're having conversations, when players interact with characters in certain ways while they're having a conversation, or break away with them when they're having a conversation, or an NPC gets disturbed from their current action. That sort of stuff's really important for a load of the chapters and scenes, and a lot of this is going to be NPC work, a lot of it's going to be literally characters moving from one scene to another, stuff like that, that just isn't finished yet, and they can't mark those sections as complete. But it's also going to be things like the physical damage system and signed distance field tech for shields. Some of this stuff was delayed or rescheduled as features, or they're working on now, but it doesn't mean that Squadron 42 devs are sitting idle. They can work on an array of other tasks, even if they are further on in these chapters. Scene work and that sort of stuff can progress further beyond white box, grey box, or whatever they're seeing they're on in certain areas. They don't always just have to finish off the current scene. They can have it and know it's working, but also go, well, we'll finish that bit off of it later, but they won't have marked it as completed on the roadmap. So what I'm trying to say there is that just because they haven't marked something as completed doesn't mean that they're not working on something later, or in fact that that's actually even been delayed. They could be working on other bits and bobs. They expected it to be done already, to be moved on to the next phase, but they can always come back to that and finish it off later. They might be waiting on tech, they might be waiting on some other bits to be finished before they can mark these sections as complete. Another theory is that CIG were stalling Squadron 42's release until after the Crytek lawsuit. I think that's very unlikely, as Squadron 42 clearly isn't completed yet by any means. There's still a load to do, so they're at least working on it. They haven't been delaying Squadron 42. They haven't sort of like been saying, we're polishing it, and they just polish it for ages. There's big sections and core components that aren't done. In regards to that Crytek lawsuit against CIG, we should see some form of resolution by the 21st of February. The parties have apparently made progress on a settlement, and from that, we're likely to have 3 different outcomes by the 21st when the court rules on that. So if they have a settlement, then the court doesn't rule, obviously, but that is one of the paths they could go down. We might not know at all what that settlement was, though. It might be sealed, but they might, for example, CIG might pay a small sum to Crytek, or Crytek might be paying CIG's legal fees, or it might be an entirely clean break. It's going to be whatever is the most sensible option for CIG in this situation. Other people, I'm sure, will be like, well, they should fight it. Well, that might not be the best financial decision for CIG to do, even if they were 100% going to win. If that happens, I will try and find out as much as I can and report on that. Other outcomes are the case is dismissed, so this could be with or without prejudice and some conditions potentially. So this is going to be based on what the court thinks. This could allow Crytek to bring the case back later. Crytek say when Squadron 42 is released, Crytek might have to pay all of CIG's legal fees, or it might be a mixture of that with some other restrictions and sort of conditions on it as well. And the last outcome, which is very unlikely, is that the case will just continue, but because Crytek have requested the motion to dismiss, it's very likely that a dismissal will occur in some way if there's no settlement. So I'm not a lawyer, so that's my hot take on that. The 3.8.2 patch has made progress and is currently being tested on the PTU, with long-term persistence being the focus currently. The Carrack is expected, at least by me, to be in some people's hands at the end of this week, although it's possible we could be waiting until the end of February if CIG are being mean or if they haven't finished it yet. But that said, I would expect that the final tweaks that they would need to do to the Carrack would be testing in the PTU, stress testing it, seeing what's wrong, seeing if there's anything else that they've overlooked. That sort of stuff, and that could be an open PTU, that might be a first wave PTU, that could be just either CARTI. We'll have to wait and see, but it's going to be part of the 3.8.2 patch. What I'm interested to know though is, will long-term persistence that's supposed to be implemented in 3.8.2 carry over from 3.8.2 to 3.9 to 4.0? If it is, and if it does, then I'm going to be playing Star Citizen a lot on my channel and stream. Actual just gameplay, I want to be grinding. I'm very, very, very much into trying to, well, someone suggested I try and earn a hammerhead, and then someone else also suggested that that would be so much grind and I'd burn myself out. But I'm quite happy to play Star Citizen a lot. I can get a load of B-roll. I can chat while I do it. There's a lot we can do. The roadmap this week should actually be updated to Alpha 4.0 for the Persistent Universe as well. We know the Mercury Star Runner is planned for here. I'm hoping that this is an indication that maybe data running could be in 4.1 as well. CIG, please give me gameplay loops. That's what we're waiting for. We are still waiting on a load of features that were moved off the roadmap, including salvage, the dynamic mission system, deeper economy features, all of which are super important. But we're also expecting core features for the game to come in this year at some point, like physicalized components, physicalized damage systems, and the physicalized inventory. And we're waiting for those to get their premiere on the Persistent Universe roadmap. Maybe 4.1, maybe 4.2, maybe not at all, but hopefully by the end of 2020. Some new community engagement content is also here this week. A Spectrum AMA, Ask Me Anything Live, on Friday at 7 PM UTC. It's something new that CIG's development teams are doing, and they're going to be looking at prisons this week. It's going to be on Spectrum, as I said. It's going to be prison content for 3.9. I'm very much looking forward to that, although I'm going to be up in Manchester this weekend, so I'll have to cover that later, and I can't obviously be there live. Well, maybe I'll try. Maybe I might have my laptop with me. That's a good point. But make sure you ask some good questions. Prisons, and what do we know about them at the moment? At the moment, we know if you die or surrender to security forces or potentially bounty hunters in a certain area with an appropriate criminal rating, then you will spawn in Klesher Automated Prison on Aberdeen. You will have your inventory taken away. You'll have to pay off a debt of merits based on your crimes or escape from the facility. Merits are given to you for being logged on in prison just over time, but you can also earn more by going to the mines under the prison, and then you get merits based on what you extract ore-wise and then deposit. You can use merits to get equipment from the vending machines to help with mining, so things like food and drink and medipens and oxypens, potentially more mining upgrades for your multi-tool in the future. There are automated anti-personnel turrets to dissuade further crimes. There's information terminals in the center pillar that will give you more information about how long you've got to be in prison for, or how many more like merits you've got to obtain, or how many you've got left, that sort of stuff. There's a boxing ring for melee fights. There may be ways of earning merits from that as well. There are hidden stashes around the prisons that might have items in them, things like shanks and shivs as well. There are escape routes in the mines under the prison, but they will sap your oxygen, and you're going to have to be prepared, maybe buy a load of stuff before you you go out. Maybe have a ship or something there waiting for you. Dying in prison will respawn you in prison, and escaping should potentially have missions generated for you as a fugitive, people coming after you, and there's going to be other missions associated with prisons too. I'm hoping that we get a bit more information on that AMA though. On Thursday for Inside Star Citizen, apparently they're going to be taking a closer look at the most gibbed ship in the universe, which is the Anvil Carrack. Gib as in give me, rather than gibbed as an explode. And turned into like fleshy pulp. We're also going to see the Planet Content team look at new moons and Planet Tech V4, and that's going to be really interesting because I suspect we'll see some new biome techniques, shaders, and oceans, both liquid and frozen, that are coming in 3.9 with those moons. One of the other exciting things for me for 3.9 is that most of the major landing zones for Stanton, most of everything for Stanton will be complete. We still need Horizon and Crusader, and then the Aaron Halo, which is the asteroid field. But then it's just jump points and general points of interest and space stations and stuff like that to get updated. And they're going to continually update points of interest and space stations anyway. So that's an interesting one. But gameplay area, we're almost done for Stanton. And Stanton has taken a long time, but is representative of one of the most diverse and complex systems that CIG could have chosen. And this was to allow them for the rapid building out of other systems once it's completed, because they have a developed toolset and a huge amount of assets and biomes already prepared. And server meshing obviously has to come online, but once that's there, server meshing, they should be able to very rapidly build out lots of systems, and not just the Pyro system in 2020, but once they have server meshing in, which I would expect early 2021, at least static server meshing, at the early stage server meshing, then we should see a lot more gameplay area and more systems pretty quickly after that. There have been some articles about Star Citizen funding, which is getting more year on year funding wise as the game seems to make progress and gets exposure. Even that exposure is relatively negative, it still seems to affect Star Citizen financially in a positive way as more and more gamers sort of like come on board. 2019 was a record-breaking year for CIG and Star Citizen apparently, and I suspect 2020 to break that by a significant margin as well. We only have figures for the previous best year, 2018, that made almost $49 million in that year, apparently, which is quite a lot. And that's it for whatever this video was. A big update on news and info dump on news. But what do you think? Are you looking forward to the Carrack and the end to the gibboning 3.8.2 long-term persistence? I'm really excited for that. Are you going to be no-lifing Star Citizen once they say, well, actually, we're going to have long-term persistence and we're not going to wipe for like 3 major patches or something like that? Or are you waiting a little bit longer so that you know there's not going to be any more resets at all before you really grind down into Star Citizen? Do you think that CIG are trying to improve their topics and content for videos and community interaction in the short term? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Or do you think there's always going to be reasons for them to do constant wipes like they have before? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. February 2020's giveaway is for a Cutlass Black and upgrade to a Cutlass Red as well, which you can apply separately, and a Star Citizen game package with that. So you don't need to own Star Citizen already. This is the full shebang. All you need to do to be in for a chance to win that is just comment on any of my videos made during this month. There are the full details in the description below. I'm a massive shill for a couple of services that you might find useful. NordVPN, they provide an affordable VPN service that provides many improvements over a free VPN. I use them. They have a huge range of servers, allowing you additional safety, security, and help you get access to content. It's usable while you're playing games or streaming or whatever. You can find the links down below or use the code BoredGamer to get up to 70% off and an additional free month as well. There's ShadowTech as well. They are a subscription-based cloud gaming PC service, allowing you to stream a gaming PC environment to another device, meaning that you don't need to own a gaming PC or upgrade. You can stream to your phone, you can stream to a lesser PC or a laptop or whatever. They are planning some amazing 4K gaming systems for 2021, and there's a waiting list for them, but you can use their boost service, which is great for Star Citizen currently, and new accounts will activate in April for that. Right in time for Star Citizen now for 3.9. Again, links below and use the code BoredGamer for discount. BoredGamer is a community-supported channel, and you can help by liking, subscribing, and sharing these videos, as well as sharing your feedback in the comments below, or even emailing me at contact@boredgamer.co.uk. There's loads of links below to all my sort of social medias and Discord servers and all that sort of jazz. Viewers that would like to go beyond that, there is Patreon and YouTube channel membership. The join button below the videos. That gives us extra money so that I can, you know, expand the channel and buy hardware and all that sort of jazz. It really does help. There are some bonuses and exclusives for those people as well, but I do want to make content for everyone regularly, so you are helping support that. Content for everyone! Woo! Thank you so much for watching. I wish you good fortune for February and in the verse.